These are the two most obvious plays, right? Rocket Lab, competitor of SpaceX, ASTS, competitor of Starlink, which is part of SpaceX for now. It's supposed to be spun off, I believe, from SpaceX. So these are the two most obvious ones. We jumped on this Friday, right? Made some good money on call options on our Rocket Lab. ASTS calls didn't perform too well. It's a small open green candle on Friday. I know my buddy in the Discord swung the ASTS calls. Good for him. But in any case, these are still going to be in play, I think. I got levels in the PDF that I sent out for both. Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which, while trying to break the 200 DMA at 1181, but we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here, APLD sympathy, all right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on CORZ? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options float just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. There's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on CORZ. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ. It says Canadian 33 cents versus 19 cents last year. All right, that's another figure to look at. So 33 minus 19 divided by 19. Wow, so it's up 73% year over year. Trailing PE pretty low. I mean, no matter how you cut it, this is a easy buy here, meaning this thing's worth at least the 200 DMA. We're going above the 200 DMA. That's why I was buying below $10 and at $10 here at 200 DMA at 991. All right, but above that, it gets a little hard to predict because of the lack of guidance and because those numbers are on the lower end, those EPS numbers, so you can't just take 40%. So let me see what I could do here. Let me go to the weekly. Let's say right here is a decent area we can get to. All right, I'm gonna say 1175 or so. I see that resistance on the weekly. Is that right up here? Yeah. This area 1180. Let me see what that would represent. By the way, 1180 minus roughly 9 divided by 9, about 31%. Wow, you're actually getting close to the magnitude of the beat. I might say that's possible. We could do it. We can maybe get that magnitude of the beat there and get about 1180. So Goose is going to be a top pick of the day. Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which, while trying to break the 200 DMA at 1181, but we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here, APLD sympathy, all right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on CORZ? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options float just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. There's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on CORZ. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ. These are the two most obvious plays, right? Rocket Lab, competitor of SpaceX, ASCS, competitor of Starlink, which is part of SpaceX for now. It's supposed to be spun off, I believe, from SpaceX. So these are the two most obvious ones. We jumped on this Friday, right? Made some good money on call options on our Rocket Lab. ASCS calls didn't perform too well. It's a small open green candle on Friday. I know my buddy in the Discord swung the ASCS calls. Good for him. But in any case, these are still going to be in play, I think. I got levels in the PDF that I sent out for both. Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which trying to break the 200 DMA at 1181. But we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here. APLD sympathy. All right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on CORZ? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options flow just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. That's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on CORZ. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ.
It's not easy to understand why stocks go up and down, but even in volatile markets, there's always a discoverable and logical reason behind price action. Story trading is a social investing community of investors who share information to uncover the hidden stories behind the trade through the 4 pillars of fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals. All price action can be understood through the lens of these pillars, allowing for a holistic view that empowers better decision-making. Only by understanding markets can you beat them. Join our community
Good morning, folks. It is Thursday, June 12th. Get ready for a big show, big day. We're going to be here live through 11 a.m. or so. So bear with me. I got a little bit of a sore throat. I'm going to be sipping on a lot of tea today. But it's going to be a great show. Wow. But before we get started, I just got to do this. See, check out this gold, up 2%. In our community, we alerted gold call options yesterday as a hedge on Iran war. And boy, is that working today. I just want to check something here, comparing gold futures with GLD, and then we'll get to the show. So
yeah, that's going to be amazing.
3376. 3376. I'm trying to understand why GLD is only up 1.27%, while gold futures up 2%. May have to do with the after hours move after the gold futures closed yesterday. So let me see. 3376 was a 4 p.m. close. So let's say 3411 minus 3376 divided by 3376. All right, that's about right. Actually, gold is maybe up more. All right, beautiful. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's start with the morning note. And today, Rhett, I think we'll just, open it up and show people this free preview of the entire morning note. So yesterday was not a great day. Down, where's the? Oh, there it is. Okay, down 1.2% versus 0.29%. But I'll take that beta when we're up 190% for the year. All right, up 190% for the year. Actually, a lot of the predictions yesterday morning were very accurate, right? You saw that. I saw you put the note
insanely.
out. Insanely accurate, but I just personally failed to really act on it. And it's tough. It is a tough market now. When you get those gap green opens, it's like I'm like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to buy this, but it's like it's up 5%. Like, how can I buy it? So it's tough. But I gave the right advice in the pre-market note yesterday. I was saying if there's a light CPI in a green market, go long nuclear stocks. I gave CCJ representing that whole sector. He could have gone with anything. Quantum stocks, INQ representing that sector. ASTS. And then CORZ was the only one that was wrong. And this is my biggest position. So that's one of the reasons I was down yesterday. RAP and GSRT. And GSRT was crazy because I'm like, no signs yet of a technical breakout, but given recent significant moves in the uranium sector, now is the time to ensure you have a full position in this name. And what do you know? Boom, we'll look at the chart. GSRT explodes. So the advice yesterday was spot on, except for one CORZ. And, if I was a little more equal weighted on all my ideas instead of overweight CORZ, I would have probably been up yesterday. But that's okay because we're going to make all of that money back and then some on this GLD open. Let me just show you some of those results here, and then we'll go back to that newsletter. Look at GSRT. Look at that. Yesterday morning, we predicted this. All right. Still holding most of my position. I did sell a little bit in after hours last night after the market started tanking on multiple negative catalysts. I'm like, maybe I should raise a little cash, but still a very large position for me here on GSRT. All right. The other ones in that morning note we gave you, RAP. Look at that big open green candle. Oh my God, this note was crazy yesterday. Then we gave you CCJ. All right. And the uranium sector, look at that. Nice open green candle, not huge. Did INQ end up with an open green candle? Let's see. I know it was up in the morning.
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, INQ failed. Well, if you took your profits in the morning, that one would have worked. ASTS, I think that was green. Another open green candle. That took balls calling ASTS after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green days in a row. Now you have 8 green days in a row. This thing, active short squeeze through to 39 plus, 50 plus has been my year-end target since the beginning of the year. I chose this along with the Root as my top 2 picks for the year, and things are starting to play out. All right, let's go back to that morning note. All right, so that was the performance yesterday. If you followed my note to the T, you would have done a lot better than I did. But again, gold is going to make up for all of it. We'll talk about that gold pick. Actually, let me talk about it now because I'm so excited about this one. GLD, all right? In fact, let's put the contract up here. We alerted this in the Discord. I even tagged everyone. Use that function to tag everyone and make sure it wasn't missed. So this is the option we got into. It was...
What'd you get filled at? I got filled at 61.
Crazy. I think I'm going to be up like at least 10 grand on this at the open. Okay. It was a 312, right? June 16th. Mm-hmm. All right, let's put that up here. 312, June 16th, which I'll put that up with gold futures and gold. Let's see, gold futures first, gold, and then this contract. All right. So this contract is now in the money. GLD trading at 312.52 based on where things are trading at yesterday. Do you have a tool that estimates what these options are? What is that? On Robinhood? I don't know who does that, but.
Yeah. Robinhood.
Oh, can you find out for us what that's at?
Yeah, let me check. I'll pull it up.
It should be up well over 100% here. So that's going to make up for all the losses I had yesterday and then some. All right. Geez. All right. While you look at that, running late on time. So this is the morning note. Put it out there every morning. This morning came out at 7:20 a.m. Usually I actually send it out a little bit earlier because I want my morning to be freed up. Not only so I can trade at 7, but just to get my morning routine and personal things done. So I wake up very early. I write it late at night, early in the morning.
270.
What is it?
270.
That's ridiculous. 270. And let me just check what my average price is on that.
It was around, not 60. It was around 70 something, 70 or 80.
270. My average price $1.05. That's almost a triple. That's almost a triple if these prices hold. And I put a nice amount into it, about 1.5%. Usually I do 1% on like a hedge, 0.5 to 1%. I want 1.5% this time because I just really like that chart setup. Let's just actually look at this. So you have, come on, keep going up. All right, 312. Let's check this out. What are the highs over here? 311.72, is it? Yeah, 311.72, 311.88, 312.20. Ooh, yes. We are close to maybe clearing this resistance level. Actually, it's better to look at the gold futures contract. That's probably a better chart. So what is this level here? 3,427, and then you got 3,450. This is just beautiful. Look at this RSI. Isn't this looking like it just wants to do a gigantic spike to all-time highs, right?
Yeah, it does.
That's what it looks like. So I don't know. I think, what are you doing? Are we selling half right at the open? Are we selling all? I mean, this is a big profit.
I know. I'm just debating whether to sell the whole thing because that kind of profit's nice.
I mean, I could
start
just
off
sell the
day.
whole thing exactly and take the day off.
Yeah.
But
Same.
in any case, that's GLD. By the way, TLT also, we're doing TLT call options yesterday. This was actually the main thing. This was my main kind of hedge on a indice type of not an indice, but like on a macro tool or a macro ticker, was TLT up another 1%. And 1% moves in TLT generally give you 100% gain on the options. And I had a nice position in TLT yesterday, but when that Iran stuff came, TLT was actually going down, even though we had the light CPI, we had the good bond auction, we have light PPI now this morning. I didn't necessarily know that would come, but when the market started going down on the Iran stuff, there was relative strength in gold, and TLT was down a little bit. And I was like so bullish on TLT. Anyway, I decided, you know what, let me rotate into gold. I kept 15 TLT contracts, but I had a lot more. In any case, that's also working. Okay, where are we at? 87. Let's look at the daily chart. Gapping above that 250 DMA. So now you got 3 strong catalysts, maybe 4 for bonds. All right. You have light CPI, light PPI, a good bonds auction yesterday at 1 p.m. And now you have maybe a market correction that could be like, a rotation out of into safety or whatever. So lots of things going on good for TLT this morning. So gold and TLT have been how we've been kind of navigating this little pullback in the markets. All right, let's head back to that macro note, June 12th. All right. So, all right, here's a macro. So every day, give you a little summary of what happened and making sense out of the markets. That's our whole mantra at story trading, is there's a story behind the trade. All right. There's a reason why stocks go up and down. It's not illogical. It's not random, right? And that belief that I have in trying to understand markets, it's what gives me all of my outperformance. Because when you understand markets, not only can you have conviction, but you can predict rapid re-ratings. When you understand the market psychology, you can predict what the rest of the crowd is going to imminently do. And so I don't buy that. A lot of people are like, oh, markets are chaotic. You can't predict it. You can't understand it. No, I call bullshit on that all the time. So we always start on explaining what just happened and why. All right. So yesterday we had IWM exploding above the 200 DMA on light CPI. Then we had markets dropping and IWM taking a step back below the 200 DMA on tougher China trade talk on both ends from Besson and China representatives. In terms of it may take longer to make a deal. There still may be some restrictions even after there's a deal. All right. Then we had the markets rocketing back above the 200 DMA, IWM on the good bond auction at 1 p.m., which is just so significant, man. That is so significant. Such a good thing for bonds, TLT, and small caps. And then the markets rolled over on the Iran scare, gold spiking, all of that. There could be military action over the weekend in Iran, but I think maybe it might just be some posturing to pressure Iran. We'll see. And that's why I'm going to be sure to be out of all of my gold, or if you're playing it with oil, all of my gold by Friday afternoon. I'm not going to bet on military action over the weekend. So in any case, and then overnight, markets continued lower and news that Trump will send letters in the next 1 to 2 weeks to trade partners setting unilateral tariff rates as the 90-day pause comes to an end. And now this morning, we have a light PPI which is sending TLT up. Let me see, how do the markets react to that? I would think slight, at least positively. Like IWM is the key one you want to watch. That's the most interest rate sensitive one here. Yeah, so reacting positively, it makes sense, right, to light PPI. All right. But we got to respect this 200 DMA here. So while I think this is generally positive news for IWM, you got to respect that. Maybe you got to pull back to the support level before you go back and break above it. But whenever it happens, whenever we particularly close above the 200 DMA, that's the key. When you get these key moving averages, the daily moving averages, it could get tricky intraday because you get all excited about, oh, we're above this key moving average, below it. But really what matters when you're looking at daily candlesticks and the daily moving averages is the close, right? So yesterday we closed below it. So let's see, is it possible we get a red to green move and a close above 215? There's a lot of negative tailwinds here this morning, aside from the PPI and the CPI and the good bonds auction. That's really good. But it looks like the market may be looking for an excuse to take some profits and consolidate based on the catalyst of what's going on in Iran and based on the tariff stuff coming out as well, right? Again, China, tougher, and the letters going out to trade partners as we come up on that 90-day pause coming to an end, all right? So that's what we talk about here, right? At the end of the day, IBM failed that 200-day breakout, but you got to respect that level, all right? We just may need a pullback and a little bit of correction before we re-challenge that. Should be noted, there is a perspective out there, and I put this in here, that this is going to be the last light CPI, and tariffs will finally impact CPI next month. And maybe those contingent of investors yesterday who were selling that news, thinking this is the last good print, possible, but I'm not going to predict that. I'll react to that. But in any case, we'll see if they're right or if they're not. Overall, I'm giving a yellow macro signal because of this 200 DMA fail and possible pullback here. It should be noted, look at this. JP Morgan this morning just said an attack on Iran could drive oil prices above 120 and take rate cuts off the table due to inflation it will cause. And that's the fear that's causing, one of the fears that's causing the market to pull back this morning. And it should be taken somewhat seriously. Now, I always have a mantra, always buy war, okay? Anytime there's war, it ends up being a great buying opportunity. Now, you may be down if you have an ultra short-term time frame, like hours, okay? Then, yeah, you might want to step back for a day or two. But usually, if you have a time frame more than a day or two, any kind of these war fears always end up being a great buying opportunity. So, but we'll give it macro signal yellow because of this 200 DMA fail and possible pullback here. But stock picking, still giving it a green. Why? Well, because we are over the 200 DMA on QQQ SPY. Where is it? That's the weekly. There we go. Okay, we're still over the 200 DMA. Rates are coming up. All right, IWM. Well, I mean, it's above the 20 DMA at least, but we're still giving a green signal for stock picking. But on the macro, would not be surprised to see a pullback here. Now, it should be noted this great earnings report from Oracle. Let's go back to, I got to talk fast today because I got to get ready to sell those gold call options. Okay, so we'll get to Oracle in just a second. All right, then we have a section here, proximal catalyst, a section just for Trump, and all these are new items. Sometimes we leave the older items on there, but there were so many new items, I just deleted all the old ones, right? So Middle East evacuations. Trump is really talking tough, and that's what makes me think this may just be posturing, that Trump got Israel to play here and kind of scare, intimidate Iran into a corner to agree to whatever terms Trump is trying to negotiate with them. It feels a little bit like that, but you never know, okay? So that's why we got into the gold, and that's why I'm going to be selling the gold by Friday, end of close, all right? Because most likely nothing will happen over the weekend. The easy money is the anticipation, right? Playing that user psychology, that investor psychology, that's the easy money. Gold typically in periods of geopolitical tensions like this tends to surge on Friday afternoon. So even if I sell 50%, 75%, even if I sell all the gold this morning, we have it here in the trade ideas section. You could be buying the dips here and have another chance to sell Friday before the close. Okay. That's that. But there's always headline risk with that. There's always Trump comes out and says, whatever. No, we're not attacking Iran. You never know. So there's a lot of headline risks there. That's why we do small positions. All right. So here's the proximal catalyst section. ERs of note today after the close. Adobe, actually, I won't be here today after the close, and I'm not going to be trading Adobe anyway, and nothing going on tomorrow. So quiet earnings here. Oracle, the last big one, which was last night. Economic data of note, we had that today at 8:30 a.m. Watch the bond auction again. I'm not sure how much the 30-year will impact. But anyway, we had a good reaction yesterday to the bond auction, so maybe that'll be another potential catalyst for TLT. All right, so let me just jump to so much going on, and all right, we got SenesTech we'll talk about in a second. ASTS I talked about. Oracle earnings, AOI contract are shipping a big volume shipment of data center transceivers. All right. Oh, and you're here for CORZ, 10:15 a.m. All right.
You hear about the Boeing news?
Boeing is right here. Air India Boeing 787 crashes. I put a video of it in the Discord. We'll talk about that. We'll look at the Boeing chart. All right, trade ideas. GSRT, I think this is going to continue to be in play today, especially on like a market pullback day like this. I like to be in these stocks that probably won't correlate with the market, whether it's SPACs or microcaps on a theme like RAP, right? The Riot theme, I like to be in that. I like to be in the gold hedge, all right? Things like that. SenesTech, a little microcap, which we're going to talk about. All right, so these are the trade ideas, and you can see my top allocations here as well. All right, so that's that. Oh, I didn't get a chance to print it out. Let me print it out so I have it by my desk. File, where's the print? All right. Okay, so I'll print that out. Okay, so here we go. So we covered gold. It's 9:20 a.m. All right, I'm on the wrong list. I'm on the macro. Let me go to the ER and Catalyst. Okay. All right, so gold's my top priority to take the profits on that. TLT, I only have a few left, so I don't think I'm going to rush to take profits on that one. Gold is a higher priority. Oracle. All right, Oracle from the morning note. Actually, let's go back to the morning note because this is incredible. All right, Oracle right here. Where is it? There it is. Blowout ER. $1.70 EPS beats 164. That's not a blowout. It's good. 15.9 billion revenue beats 15.58. That's a little bit better. But here's where it gets really exciting in terms of their forward-looking comments and their guidance on revenue growth in fiscal year 2026. And this is why the stock is booming on this sentiment. Sees cloud revenue growth of 40% in 2026, so accelerating revenue growth versus 24% in 2025. Sees cloud infrastructure growth of over 70% versus 50% in 2025. Says 2025 was a good year, but 2026 will be even better as revenue growth rates will be dramatically higher. These words, okay. Oops, how did I get signed out? What the? All right, come on. Okay, these words make a difference. Dramatically higher, especially when a big cap CEO is saying things like this, not a little micro cap pumping. Dramatically higher. Revenue growth rates and demand are skyrocketing into 2026. Signed gigantic cloud contract with Chinese e-commerce company Temu. All right, so you take all of that and you look at the daily chart and you're like, yeah, this is breaking the all-time high, 197.12. All right, so that's my prediction for you on Oracle. Is it going to do in a straight line? I don't know. All right. Is it going to pull back first? I don't know. But that's my target. 197.12. Wouldn't be surprised to see that today or tomorrow. All right. So that's Oracle. Boeing plane crash. I shared the video. I don't know. I'm not an aviation expert. Where are we at? 202. It was a controlled descent, it looked like. It wasn't like it dropped out of the air. So a little bit fishy. We'll have to find out what happened there. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if you saw the video. It was like coming in for a slow landing inside a populated city area. Weird. All right, we'll have to find out about that. But maybe it was something not related to Boeing's fault. But looking at the technicals, I'm probably not going to play this today. But I'm going to be watching this. Come on, pull back. How come it's not? This is not. Shit. Sorry, guys. This is not the chart I was looking at on my phone. What the hell time frame was I looking at? 1 second. Daily. Okay, yeah, it was here. All right, so at one, okay, it's back above this key level 201, so that's important. So maybe people are having the same reaction I was having, okay, because you got critical support here at let's call it 200, 199. It's back above that. If this goes back below 200, there's really nothing, like no support until 185 to 190, which is the 50 DMA and this candle support. So 185 to 190. I was thinking that maybe I'll take a position there or some call options at 185 to 190. Might not get there. All right. But in any case, that's something I'll be watching, but I'm not going to have strong conviction on it unless it gets to those support levels. Okay. So that's Boeing. GSRT, as we talked about. Look, I can't chart this. All right. Well, we predicted this move, but I'm just going to say based on other SPACs, when they get popular in the pre-deal, the deal was announced but not merged in the pre-merger time period. I've seen these SPACs typically when they get to the hype, they typically will go to like 15 to 17 bucks. And that's basically CLBR did something similar recently, which by the way, I think we'll have another surge before the grab-a-gun deal. But there you go, like went into that 15 to 17 buck area. So what are we at now, Brett, on this one? GSRT is at 11. So let's just charts. We're like down here, right? We're down here. So look how much hype can still come, in this uranium stock that's just getting found. I think it's early. It looks like, it's over. I think it's just the beginning because these uranium stocks have gone absolutely ballistic as merging with an SMR company. All right. So GSRT going to be in play today, going to be a top pick. Okay. So RAP is going to be in play, going to be a top pick. All right. We're going to be looking at Oracle. Oops. I got a little bit of Oracle in pre-market. I think it just deleted it. Hold on. Oracle. Add to your catalyst list. Okay. So Oracle, GSRT, gold. I'm going to put gold at the top because you know what I got to do there. All right. RAP Technologies predicted this move. Switch to the weekly. Riots this weekend. I think this one can go to. I think there's a possibility we see 240 Friday before the close, 200 DMA. So that's RAP. Damn. Bear with me here. 925.
Well, good. You want to do the Sinestech update real quick?
Let's do Sinestech next. All right. Sinestech, big news yesterday. Wow, look at this candle. Just beautiful. Beautiful, gigantic, bullish engulfing under the above the 200 DMA, off the 200 DMA, huge volume. Interesting, it didn't first explode. I had to make a call to investor relations to clarify what they meant in their press release. In their press release, it was, where's the language here? Can you get that language? Do you have it?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. My internet will load.
All right, I'm racing you. So you get some.
You may beat me.
All right, ready? So yesterday they had a press release on a new distributor. The headline was kind of boring. Sinestech announces new distributor, basically, right? Then you go to the very last line of the press release. It says, this distributor's initial order represents the largest distributor stocking order the company has received. Has received when? This quarter? This year? This month? It wasn't clear what they meant by that. So I put a call into IR in the in the afternoon. Rhett, you pushed me to do that. Thank you. I called that. I'm like, what do you mean by this? Is this the largest order in company history? It's like, yeah, of course. That's what it means. The largest quarter in company history. I don't get it. Why is the stock down? I'm like, dude, like that should have been the headline. The largest order in company history. So we went ahead and we told our Discord that, and then we put it on social media that this is the largest order in company history, and the stock subsequently took off. I was hoping they would issue a clarification PR, but none yet that I've seen. Anyway, that's the Sinestech update for you. Now, this was a significant move. There was resistance at 290. I actually added to my long-term position yesterday after this significant catalyst, a fundamentally significant catalyst happening yesterday, and a technical break. So figured that's a good time to add more. All right. So that's Sinestech. Let's go back. I think there was one more. It was AAOI pulling back. Ooh, ouch. AAOI pulling back on this seemingly significant news. I wonder if there's any takes in Discord or if the Godfather is saying why this is pulling back. Oh, bought some last night. Bought it back this morning, that half that I sold, but not looking good. Where's the morning note? Hold on. Morning note is... Okay, so AAOI, the news was, announces first volume shipment of data center transceivers to a recently re-engaged major hyperscale data center customer. Lots of buzzwords in there, impactful buzzwords regarding, hot sectors, and that's also an important fundamental piece of news, an important catalyst. Pulling back to just up 8% now, is up like 15, 16% earlier. But this one, I think, can continue to be in play. I got to take a break. We're here, but I gotta manage this gold right now as the market opens, right? So let's focus on that. We're gonna be here live.
I'm on mute. Yeah, I'm about to do the
live
same.
trading with you until 10:15, and then we're gonna bring on the Godfather, talk about CORZ.
Alrighty, let's see if these open up at.
All right, are you gonna sell all? I'm gonna sell half at the open.
I think I may just sell all.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Seconds.
You're good at that. You're good at selling all. So 105 was my entry. Let's see where we open up at. I don't want to put a market order in.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna wait. I have two something. I have 2 point. I'm about to see 3.
All right, here we go. Ooh,
all right.
What is it? 240.
240.
All right, I'm gonna sell half at 2. I put a 230.
I put 240. I'm out.
You're out. All right, I sold half. Fidelity. So 240. I sold half at 240. Is that what you sold at?
Yeah.
I sold half at 240. Oh, I figured my account would be up higher.
Oh, I didn't get any screenshots.
I still have half. I can get the screenshots later. What the hell is down right now?
That's not bad. I spent $405 on those calls.
Well? Hold on. Oh, it's just the way it's calculating the core. Hold on. Let me see these CORZ call options. It's reflecting down 26%, which is incorrect. Okay, it's doing it the bid, not the midpoint. All right, so I'm fine. All right, so I sold half of these. I have to open at 240. Entry price 105. I'll get the screenshot later. All right. How about TLT? I have some TLT call options. You know what? Let me sell the TLT call options also.
Mine was almost a 200% gain right there.
In at 88 cents on the TLT. Actually, I'll sell 2/3 of them so I can keep a screenshot for you. All right, just sold some of the TLT call options. The GLD call options, let me see what my account's showing now. It shows up 126%. How? Which one did he get? How are you up
312? I got filled at 81. Did you average up?
Oh, I averaged up, right. Yeah. That's why it's not as impressive. We'll use your screenshot. Yeah, I kept buying yesterday afternoon. Beautiful. All right. Oh, wrap dips is something I might be interested in today. Sinesec still strong above 290. Okay. AAOI. Oh, beautiful. That was a dip buying up. Let's see. AAOI. Wow, look at that. What do you look at that? So I wish I bought more this morning. All right, I have an 1831 average on the remaining shares. Actually, I'm gonna sell a little bit here to try to trade around the core. So I'm just selling 1/4 of my shares here at market. Boom.
UMAC spike.
Take that. UMAC was strong last night. I noticed that.
Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, look at that. That's nice.
Those executive orders. Wow. Wow, what a crazy buying opportunity that was in AOI. All right, let's put our relative strength up here. So we got AOI, GSRT, which are both in our top picks this morning. UMAC, which I'm not in at the moment. Okay. Sinestec and RAP. Oh, ASTS, another green day. Holy smokes.
This thing is on fire.
It's going over 39. It's going over 39. I have some
in my retirement account.
options. How much are these? Hold on, I might buy more. I have some 39 call options for next week on ASTS.
I may add small size for the 40s for this one to see if we get that short squeeze to like 39.
40 next week?
40 for this week.
Oh, this week?
Yeah, between today and tomorrow.
Oh,
just take like a third of the profits from GLD, throw it in there. Because I almost made it. It was like 790 something bucks I just made on gold calls.
Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'll just pick up some. I have some 39 call options for next week. But this looks like it's squeezing to new all-time highs. So I'll just get some common shares to complement my long-term here. Just picked up a little bit. Damn. GSRT, remove the extended hours to get the right look of this. 11:24, so this is looking great. I was thinking about Oracle call options. Anyway, I got the common shares. Let's see. All right, and that's that. And I'm up nicely for the day at this point.
Yeah, same. Thanks for that. Those GLD calls were clutch.
I know, right? They really
do nothing.
But actually, I'm still not back.
I added those super small size. Got filled at 23.
Actually, still not back to where I was yesterday morning. Here goes GSRT, but I'm getting there. Oh, look at gold. Beautiful. See, you're not going to have FOMO that you sold all of it.
Yeah, but I mean, oh, well. Taking profits is taking, whoa. How much are they up now?
Let's see. GLD.
260.
Oh, wow.
That's okay.
That's beautiful. 5,300.
270. There's that 270 I was getting.
Wow, I'm up almost 10 grand overall on gold. And how am I not back to my highs of yesterday? Man, yesterday was tough. Oh, RAP is down, so that may be hurting. Wait, what am I down on today? I don't get it. Oh, SPCB is down? Ouch, what the hell?
Yeah, that's down almost 5% today, so
I don't love this chart pattern. It might pull back into this gap, but I'm not selling that. Okay, so is Spyro down too today? Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Oh no, it's coming back. Oh, Spyro's all right. Oh, that AOI should have really loaded that dip. Damn. Still have a 5% position in my account. That's not bad. 5% allocation. I'm just going to sell a little bit more right here. Just selling on the way up.
How long does it normally take for them to like release those reports to say what the cause and issue was for the crash?
Boeing? Are you still? I forgot about Boeing. Did it get to there? No. It looks like it's holding 200. That could take weeks.
Yeah, I watched that video because all I saw was
AOI.
And it almost seems like they just lost their engines or something.
About point it in a less populated area. I don't know. I guess it's India. I don't know that there is a less populated area.
Yeah, AOI is a beast.
I sold another 100 of AOI. CORZ coming back. Oh, talk about a beast.
Look at ASTS, man. Look at that ad right there. That was a great ad on those.
Yeah, I only got common shares, but you know what? This is just so squeezy. I'm gonna add more common shares. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get it with size. This looks like we are short squeezing to all-time highs. Damn. At this rate, I'm going to be out of all my AOI shares soon. The target I gave in the morning note was all the way up here at the 200 day. I said 20 to 2150 was a target in our morning note.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I got it memorized. Oracle heading to that 197. Glad I picked up a little bit just to be part of it. How's the market doing today? Market's red, and we are deep green, folks.
You can't beat that. Bounced off that key level this morning around the 529, the Qs. But we'll see.
You can put comments. I just put on the feature so your comments will show on the screen now if you want. Nice.
What do you say?
I missed some comments here, so I just put on that feature where people's comments will show on the screen now.
Oh, yeah, someone's saying Tesla. Hey, guys, if you're on the Discord, just put it in this chat so we can see it easier. Pops up right on the screen. What's up with Tesla? Well, Tesla's nice. Look at that.
I don't really have time for Tesla today, but
Opening above that.
Well, last night there was news. I put it in the morning note where Trump was saying he can reconcile with Elon Musk. It'll be a very good, beautiful, big, awesome, the best kind of reconciliation there is. You see that?
Yeah. Honestly, part of me feels like that whole thing was staged.
I didn't put the full quote in. What's that? It was staged?
I feel like that's staged, all that. Like the whole thing.
I don't know. Maybe
oh my gosh. ASTS is a beast, guys.
I know.
Look at this. I'm up 40% already. Hope some of you guys followed on those calls.
Oh, you got 40 this week. Yeah, the 39.5 for next week are barely moving still.
You should have followed, Ben.
Yeah. It's a big spread. Okay, now I'm up on them, but okay, now they're
I'm up over 50% now. I'm gonna sell half. They came back.
Yeah, I got a big spread on these 39s. Jeez,
I'm not in big. Profits are pretty small on these.
13.
What's the next resistance level for this? Is it just at 39?
There's no more resistance. It's 39.08, and then I think it's going to overshoot it. To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to get resisted at 39.
The next resistance is right around 37.
Look at the RSI. Look at the RSI in the weekly. This thing's going to blow past 39. In my opinion.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's already.
Oracle close to that 197. I got some common shares I'll be selling at some point there. Gold continues to pump. And somehow I'm still not back at yesterday's highs. It's because of Spiro and SPCB and CORZ and WRAP. But look at this GLD. Let's look at the daily chart. Let's see where the resistance levels are. Actually, let's look at gold futures. 34.27. Oh, this is just so beautiful. All right, I gotta sell a little gold on the way up. I got too much profit. It would be irresponsible not to. All right, just shaved off a couple more gold contracts here. Ooh, what did I get filled out there? 306.
Holy moly, ARCAT is explosive. No kidding.
So the catalyst there in the morning note, White House says they signed 3 executive orders on drones and eVTOLs, although I didn't see the actual text of that. I was looking for it on the White House website. I couldn't find it. So let's look at the drone list. ARCAT up 10%. Wow, that is a real move. Ooh, UMAC. It's actually UMAC is lagging because ARCAT's over the recent high. UMAC isn't. What about PDYN? Ooh, PDYN. Hold on. I'm picking up some PDYN right here as a catch-up play in the drone space. Got in at 865. I put that into the main list to look at. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, I need to let me put UMAC and ARCAT up there as reference points for what PDOYN can maybe do as a catch-up play. You know, I want to get Tesla out of the way. I'm not interested in Tesla today. Okay. Oh, I have some mind left over from yesterday. Where are we at? Pop? Not so much yet. I want to get out of those. Okay, AOI is trying to pull back. I'm down to 4%.
If anyone on X has any questions too, just feel free to put them in the chat as well.
Yeah, there's a live chat on X. You can pull that up and put it in there. We'll see it back here in the studio. Wow, look at UMAC. Damn. All right, let's see if PDYN catches up. Right, I have to sell more gold. My position size is too large after this movement. I'm still at 1.5% even after all the sales I made.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What are they over 3 now?
I'm gonna sell.
They should be.
Yeah, I sold some at 306. No, I'm selling more. So you have a screenshot of that, right? You don't need my screenshot, do you?
That you sent to me?
Yeah, GLD. You need a screenshot or no?
Oh, yeah, I do. I never got a screenshot.
Oh, shit. It's so stupid how they don't show you your percent gain after you sell it. Let's see.
I know. I wish there was a button to go back and for them to show. I think some brokers do that.
Probably. I mean, they show the dollar gain. They don't show the percent. That's really what matters. Now it's not even showing. So stupid. Here, you know what? I'll just do this. It's not the best screenshot, but it's something. Okay.
All right, I got
it. CORZ trying to do red to green. Oracle coming up on that 197 target. Man, I guess I should have done larger size. And it's just, I don't like doing obvious plays. That's my weak. Sometimes, you know, I make a lot of money by doing the non-obvious plays, but I could make a lot more money if I didn't have a problem. I kind of have a problem following the crowd. It's not good. I like to be ahead of the crowd, but sometimes it's just good to be with the crowd. And I'm like, yeah, it's obvious Oracle's going to 197. Like, that doesn't make me smart to pick that. right? I'm like, you can be a monkey and know that Oracle's going to 197.
What was the other one the other day? It was IWM too, the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knew IWM's going to 200 DMA, so I didn't play it. it's something I got to get over because I leave a lot of money on the table when I think like that. Like, you know how much money I could have made buying the Oracle dip on call options here? It's up to $7. Whatever. Now I'll just be up $200. I bought 100 common shares. Oh, whatever. All right. Hope some of you killed it. It was in the morning note with the 197 target. There it is, 190. You know what? I should sell. That was my target. 197. I'm out. All right. It could probably break. It'll probably break. But anyway, hit the target. Oracle hits the morning note target. Actually, you don't have. I updated. I put it in as a text. Whatever. It's in the channel. It's in the morning note channel. You'll see it. And here we go. Probably breaking about that.
Someone's saying Sinestech ready to explode.
Sinestech ready to explode. 291, 295.
Check out the daily.
Oh, I know. We covered it this morning. Yeah. Let's throw that up there.
Yeah, why didn't I play Oracle calls? That was stupid.
It's my fault because I didn't focus on it too much. I gave it to you. I gave you the level. I said it to you.
Yeah, I know.
All right, here's CORZ. Finally, CORZ. That's what I need. This is the main reason my account was down yesterday. Big on CORZ. New 52-week high on Oracle here. It broke that 197 level. Not a surprise. All-time new highs. I think you're going to 200. Psychological level. I think you're going to 200 on Oracle. At least 199.97. Oh my God, ASTS is gonna go. Is the market green now? Everything's going crazy.
Yeah, it was when I just checked. Let me check again. Yes, yeah,
barely. Trying.
But yeah, it's not. It's flipping to green.
Yeah.
It's been ripping up.
Now look at UMAC. Oh, I got the wrong Jones stock. I got Paladine. Paladine usually has a little power.
What's the short position on the ASTS?
Huge. Is that going to?
These guys are.
4 days to cover. 50 million shares. 46 million.
These guys are in some serious trouble.
It's like, what is that? Like 13% of the OS, something like that. Wow, look at Arcad and UMAC go. Come on, PDYN. It always pulls it off. That's an ugly chart, though. But so was UMAC. Oh, my gosh. PDYN.
Someone's asking the community if RAP's a buying op.
If what?
If RAP is a buying op.
Right this second, I think it's buying up, generally speaking, before Friday. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. 200 DMA bounce. Yeah, I think RAP is buying up here. I still hold it. Didn't sell yet. RCAT, UMAC. Are all the other giant stocks up or only those two? Let's check. RCAT, UMAC. Wow, it's mostly RCAT and UMAC. NBIS a little bit, but dude, RCAT, UMAC, and Paladine tend to trade together, but especially RCAT and UMAC. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm no longer in Oracle and it's going to 199.75.
Look at this. ASTS is freaking flying high of day. Holy, these guys are in some serious trouble.
Oh, I must have sold some of my call options. I had an order. Oh no, I didn't. You know what? Maybe I'll hold on. Let me see what. How are these call options not going up? Damn it. ASTS. You know what? I'm going to cancel this because this thing's going to all-time new highs. At this point, it's getting there this week. I think it's getting there tomorrow. With these $39 calls still not really moving, right? Next week's 39. Yeah. I got in at $1.13 yesterday, and the bid is 118 by 147, like barely moved. Okay. Is that volume here? What's this?
Yeah, I've noticed that.
No. Why is my account not higher today? Oh, you know what? Should I sell all the rest of my gold here? Right.
How much do you have left?
It's 0.9% of my account. I'm selling more.
At what price?
My average price is $1.13. I just sold more at $2.50.
Still selling better than what I sold mine at.
Yep.
I guess I should have listened to you and held a little longer, but still was a good gain.
Wait, why am I still not at the high of yesterday? Oh, it's
SPCB.
SPCB. What the hell's going on with SPCB?
It's coming back a little, but I mean it's still down over 3.5%.
Spiro is also down. Not much. It's nothing. Okay. All right, whatever. Here goes Oracle to that 199. I can't. Why did I sell Oracle? Oh, I knew it's going to 200. Psychological magnet right now. It's a psychological magnet. Right? Is it too late for Oracle call options? Probably not. It's going up another $1.50 right now.
Compared to where we could have got in,
Yeah,
I'd say yeah, but your risk reward isn't really there at the moment.
Yeah, and these call options are expensive.
Do we have any news dropping at 10 or no?
Would have done the $200. I should have done the $200 ones. Let's check. June 12th morning note. Economic data. No, 1 p.m. auction. Tomorrow 10 a.m.
Tomorrow there is. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, we have only one thing that tomorrow's consumer sentiment.
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Oh, I gotta sell mine at some point. Wow, we got the right stocks up at the top of our list, right? I'm going down below and everything's red. Chewy's green.
Oh, I was on mute talking to myself.
Oh.
I said, yeah, markets look like they're turning over at the moment. ASTS is showing some pretty relative strength with that, though.
That's crazy. Yesterday, too, it had crazy relative strength. I mean, it's just going. New all-time highs coming very fast on ASTS.
Yeah, I did not expect it to come this early, to be honest. Did you?
No.
But
I did say I had pretty strongly worded language on it earlier this week. I was like, this is an inflection that takes it straight to 50 plus.
Yeah, I have it clipped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have it ready to go. Once it happens, I'm going to post
it. So, I mean, I had a feeling, but this fast? No, I don't think it would come this fast. I wish I knew it would come this fast. I would have loaded up on $35 call options expiring.
I listened to those guys yesterday. It was a pretty good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're informing them.
I went to bed early last night. I was kind of sick. Trying to get better.
Mine holding $6 support is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a beautiful support. Look at this ASTS.
Yeah, it's such a beast.
Man, I wish I had. I always thought I had a nice size position of ASTS in my retirement account. I'm like, yeah, it's one of my largest positions. Now that it's going up, I'm like, nah, I didn't get enough. It's not big enough.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, I should have sold like half my Tesla to buy more ASTS. I was like, no, probably not the best. But I kept adding, so that's good.
I didn't really add this year. I've had the same amount of ASTS all year. Just held it. Let's see. Actually, September, $23. I bought ASTS in my retirement account. Then I bought more in October at 23. Then October 28, November 25, February 27. I have been averaging up. March 32.
My average is 24 in the low 24s. It's like 24, 20 something.
That's a good average. My average in my retirement account is, but I did like trade it a bit at some point, so I don't know what my real average is. But
I added in the retirement account, it was like 18 or 19. Remember that day you called it out?
oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I added that then too. That was like amazing.
That was
like
this
best
day. It was this red candle day. It was January 29th that I called the inflection. I'm like, this thing's gonna rocket. Or no, sorry, it was January 30th. It was this day. It was January 30th. I remember clear. It was a Thursday. See? Yep. And we made so much money on that day. It was crazy. The next day, the next couple days.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was such an obvious catalyst back then. Well, there goes Oracle. Hey, you told me not to buy call options. It's your fault. Blaming you.
Still going. Jeez.
I told you it's going to 200.
It's like
You don't
bucking
get-
the whole trend right now.
You don't break the all-time high and get that close to a psychological level and not test it. That's just like easy. That's an easy prediction. $10. All right. So guys, start sharing this stream. 10:15, we'll start talking about CORZ. 30. Right, Rhett? Is that the
What'd you say? 10:30?
10:15, we're going to start talking about CORZ in the AI data center sector. And then
Yep.
we'll start promptly with Steve at 10:30.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, so make sure to send this link around, especially if you want to know more about the sector or if you're in it. This is the play on, CoreWeave, NBIS, right? APLD, and the question is, is CORZ the next one to rocket? Look at the relative strength in CORZ today compared to the rest of those names, by the way. Okay, so we'll shift to that in about 15 minutes.
Yep.
So get that link spread out, guys. Oh man, PDOIN's not working for me. May have to take a loss on that. What did the market just crash?
Pulling back.
Hold on. Everything has big red candles though.
No, not really.
Whoa, it's just our stocks. All right, so maybe it's funny. Back. There's ASTS, AOI at the same time. Yeah, I might have to buy this AOI dip. AOI. Come on, where is it? Hate you, Fidelity. All right, here we go. Takes forever to place orders. Piece of shit. All right, I'm buying AOI right here. Just common shares. Dude, I'm thinking of should I buy call options right here?
For AOI?
Yeah.
How's the liquidity on those?
The spreads are too big, so never mind. I mean, if it rockets up $2, it'll be fine.
Oh my! The 200 calls that Oracle, they opened up at $30. They ran all the way to 230.
We should have known.
Jeez.
I mean, we kind of did know. We just should have focused on it.
Yeah, tuned in.
I'm buying more AOI here. Just common shares. But I don't know if PDYN doesn't go. I may have to take a loss on that. Oh, good. Mine is starting to move. I still have a decent amount. I got a 5.6% allocation here.
There you go.
What just happened?
Someone's saying there's a GME drop looks insane. Looks extreme.
Well, they missed on their numbers and they didn't offering. Oh wait, the offering was last night. The numbers were a couple days ago, right? Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh. Not interested.
You know, I had a crazy yeah, look at that, down 20%.
Like one million in macro.
So when I had a crazy thought, when is Roaring Kitty's next tweet gonna come out, and what is it gonna be? ASTS? Could you imagine?
I don't know.
It'd be crazy.
Is there like a trend of certain types of stocks, sectors, market caps, or anything that he likes?
I mean, it was Chewy, GME, AMC.
Oh, isn't that all the guy? What's his name? There one guy behind that? Chewy
Yeah.
GME? What's that guy's name?
Roaring, it's Keith Gill or something?
No, the other guy who runs both Chewy. I think he's on the board of
Cohen?
Yeah.
Ryan Cohen?
Yeah, isn't he on two of those?
I
Chewy,
believe.
AMC, and GME? I think his AMC and Chewy, no?
Let's see. I believe so.
Maybe it's following Ryan Cohen around, or maybe I'm completely wrong. You're going to check in a second there.
I thought it was just Chewy.
Here on my list all of a sudden. QQQ. Spy QQQ are cool.
But he joined it after the whole thing. He joined in 2021.
Yeah.
He joined the GameStop board along with, let's see the other.
Is he involved with AMC or Chewy as well? I think he's Chewy also.
Yeah, he has Chewy. I'm trying to see about
that Oracle.
I went to AMC. I went and watched the new Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I went to AMC theater. It's not too far away. Man, their tickets are cheap. I thought tickets were expensive. It was only like $7.95 or something.
Really? Not up here.
How much is it for you guys?
Like $15 probably.
How much?
Probably $15.
Oh yeah. I thought you said 50. Yeah, that's how much they normally are if you go to the other movie theaters. But it's super cheap for some reason. Don't know why. I thought I was on a fake account at first when I was buying the tickets.
All right, how's Supercom coming along? Still down. Surprising pullback. I guess you don't go up in a straight line.
Yeah. Yeah, average is like 15 there for you guys. Oh, so you're in LA. How's it near you right now with everything happening?
Look at this Oracle. Oh my gosh. It's coming in my target. Why didn't I play it? Oh my gosh, look at you, man. Come on, PDYN. Come on, PD. Look at that. Ooh.
There we go.
Remember, UMAC CEO said after those EOs expect big order. After that, I think that's what's driving this move.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, but I'm tempted to just add more PDYN. Hey guys, it's showing like 750 people online right now. but with the way X works, that's a cumulative number, not a live concurrent. I'd like to know how many people are here paying attention. So if you don't mind, in the chat, pull up that chat on X if you don't mind, and just throw in like the number 1 in there, just so we know you're there. All right, please do that for us here. I'm sure only like 1% of you will listen to me. So whatever that number is, we'll multiply by 100. We'll know how many people are actually listening live right now. So go ahead, pull up that chat. Yeah, we got 1.
One. No, that's YouTube.
We got 2, 3. All right, but these are all YouTube links. Oh, did he put the YouTube link out also? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So,
so these are not all.
Yep.
Oh, okay. It's X and YouTube. All right, cool. We got the YouTube people watching. How about X? If you're on X and you're watching, just go ahead and throw a number 1 there so we know you're alive. You have a heartbeat. Look at Oracle heading to the target. Rhett, I feel so stupid. I mean, I was calling this since early this morning.
Yeah, I feel stupid for not trying to push it.
That's where I need your help, right? Those obvious plays where I just avoid because they're too obvious. Like, easy money. Look at that. What did I tell you? Heading right to 199.97. I think you're going to pull back hard at 200, though. Yeah, let's see. At least temporarily, at least on the first test. Those AIY dip buys are working. GSRT come. Oh, CORZ, baby. Just in time. All right, you know what? Let's start organizing our watch list here to talk about these AI data center plays. Maybe the Godfather is going to make an impact on the stock today. Wow. Because this is the only one that's up, unless it's Bitcoin that's surging. Is Bitcoin surging? No. CORZ is doing its own thing.
Right, I tell you what, have you looked at his sheet yet?
Nope. I glanced at it. Yeah.
It's pretty compelling.
All right. Awesome. Can't wait to see it. All right. So we got applied NBIS. What am I missing? I'm missing CoreWeave. Okay.
CoreWeave.
Okay. Let's go. CoreWeave. All right. So let's go here. So it's CoreWeave, NBIS, APLD. These are the AI data center plays. And we want to know what we think. We've been saying, Godfather has been saying that CORZ is next, but we're going to find out why in just a second. All right.
In 4 minutes, we'll be going on and chatting it up.
Yes, APLD. Wait. You want to tell them we're going to start at 10:30. Just 10:15 is the warm up. I'll start warming him up at 10:15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Look, Jack. Oh my gosh, I got the wrong drone stock, didn't I? This is moving on that CEO interview over the weekend. Damn. Come on, PD. Wow, there's really nothing going on underneath.
Mm-mm.
I mean, hover keeps going up. I was like 2 days early on hover, man. Oh my gosh, I wish I swung it. Damn. Sad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you'd have swung it, that would have been nice.
It's just a microcap shitco, so I didn't really want to swing a microcap shitco. I wanted to move in one day off the eVTOL EO, and it didn't really come the first day, and then look at it since.
So Nasdaq holding up pretty well this morning.
Oh, look at CORZ, baby. All right, at this point, I better be back to yesterday's open, and I am. Okay. So now completely made up for yesterday's losses at this point. Thank God. I really needed CORZ to do that because I guess I have so much CORZ, which is maybe irresponsible. But Anyway, and here we go, Oracle. So that 200 psychological test. There it is. Rhett, why didn't we buy call options today on Oracle?
I know. Even the call options I added to my list late, they're already up 40%.
I told you. It's not too late.
My gosh.
Wow. UMAC keeps going. By the way, if you want to join our Discord, head on over to storytrading.com. Storytrading.com/Discord or just storytrading.com. And you'll get these live streams pretty much every day.
Yeah, live trading, get the morning note, get it all, the alerts.
Chat room, community. We chat with everyone in the chat room, by the way, if you're a VIP. We have 2 different levels of standard and VIP. Standard, you get to see all the content. If you get to VIP, you have to join as standard first, and then you can upgrade to VIP, and then you can actually chat with me throughout the day or whenever. I pretty much answer everything in the VIP chat room, along with Steve. I mean, Godfather knows.
Alright, he's here.
Yeah. So, all right. So now 10:15 a.m. Make sure, guys, to send this link around. We're gonna start at 10:30 sharp. All
Steve,
right?
you want to give me a thumbs up and I'll just bring you on?
I mean,
Just
we can bring them
talking.
on just to casually talk, yeah. But the
Right.
presentation 10:30. All right, great.
Morning, Steve. Oh,
Hey, good morning,
Godfather.
guys.
All right. So good morning. We're just gonna warm people up here for 15 minutes as we build the audience. We initially advertised this for 10:30, so. Yeah, we could talk a little bit of overview, macro, anything else you want to talk about.
How's my mic this morning?
Your mic is good so far.
Okay,
I hear
good.
you well.
Making the settings.
By the way, CORZ is the only stock in the sector that's up this morning. You should know.
I see that. I'm sure
Yep.
it's anticipation of
Yep,
this little chat we're going to have in a few minutes.
absolutely. Word got out. So, wow, look at this. UMAC will not stop. Holy crap. They're getting that order, huh? Damn.
Did we ever
So-
see additional text out of the White House from these EOs?
You still didn't see it either?
No, I'm asking, have we seen that? Because I don't think I don't
I
believe that.
mean, let me check the White House website again. I didn't see it as of last night.
Right.
Executive orders. I'm trying to think. You know what? This must be what it is. I think that PR was referring to the EOs from June 6th.
I kind of
because-
think so as well.
Yeah, I think that was like just a late fluff PR. These June 6 EOs, in fact, here, I'll show it. Because these are all about, see, airspace, supersonic flight, drone dominance. June 6, June 6, June 6. I don't think there are 3 new ones. I think they're these, which we saw and acted on last week. Those eVTOL plays were great on that. Yeah, it's got to be these 3. So I don't know. Are these the EOs that UMAC CEO is waiting on? I'm starting to think it is.
I kind of think so.
This is it. This is what he was waiting for.
I'm shocked that we're up here at $9, frankly. I'm a little bit worried about a major sell the news event when they actually announce, the contract that's going to go in to fill this.
I mean, why would they need those EOs? Why would those EOs be contingent on announcing a big contract?
I'm not sure that they are necessarily. I think it's just kind of coincidental. They have a lot of backfilling to do on their valuation, as we know, right? A lot of their existing parts and so on came from China. So if they are going to hold true on this initiative of being a key part of the U.S. supply chain, especially when it comes to motors, there's going to have to be some contracts, right? To Red Cat and to other players in this market.
Look at this.
whereby they're a U.S. manufacturer. So the fundamentals certainly don't, support the valuation up here at $9.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the market cap is relatively low for a Trump meme stock. Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of UMAC, right? So
yeah.
122
I think
million.
it's the most defensible part of their valuation, I guess.
Yeah.
So look, as you know, we've been playing this with a barbell, right? KTOS is sort of the blue chip name in the sector, making everything from jet propulsion that goes into the F-35 fighter jets and other hypersonic missiles and all the rest of that, key components for base stations, for satellite.
What a nice look on KTOS today. But
yeah, so if you have that, there's your steak, and then a little sizzle on your steak with UMAC, I think is a decent way to approach it.
yeah,
That's how I've been playing it anyway. I don't have a position. I wish I did with the stock dollar. I'm sort of in and out of it from time to time, depending on how the stock behaves. Are you in it at the moment?
no.
Yeah, okay.
I played it the other day when the White House press release came out, and after the CEO interview over the weekend, they played it. So I played it twice since then.
Extending to new highs on Core Scientific.
There you go. Anticipation of this event coming up. Hey, Rhett, can you change the banner here to say 10:30 a.m. starting next? You got 10-minute countdown. 10-minute countdown on the. You got a nice big presentation, guys. Wow, look at this Oracle hitting my secondary target after it broke the 197 target. 199.97 was my second target. Gosh, I can't believe I didn't play that today.
Should have grabbed a few calls on that this morning.
I know. That's what we're talking about. It was just so obvious. It was just too obvious. Like I was telling Rhett earlier, that's one of the things I can improve on is playing the popular stocks. When a target's like so obvious, I usually don't play it.
Yeah, overlooked.
I just don't play it. I'm like, I gotta feel smart with my picks. That's a deficiency.
But to your defense, the macro picture did not look good after the market yesterday, right? All this talk about potential action in the Middle East and so on. Futures were down. I think 100 points on both the Qs as well as the S&P. So,
what's green now?
Yeah, great report out of Oracle, but you know how these things go. It could sell off the next morning. So
there it is, 199. Oh, you gotta clip you gotta clip that part later when I'm like, after we broke 197, I said that's it. We're gonna test 200. We're gonna test 200. 199.97. Here it comes. All right, so it's a good time to quickly talk about AAOI. After digesting the news last night and seeing the price action this morning, are you still thinking this can make a move towards that 200 DMA, $21, or kind of out of gas here? What do you think?
No, I'm gonna give this a little bit more time because like I think you pointed out accurately, it hasn't really moved with the rest of the group, right? We're seeing good performance out of CRDO, for example. And by the way, Credo is their partner on these optical interconnects that they have this contract for. So there is a correlation in movements between the two, and AAOI has lagged for a reason, frankly, because execution has been poor. They've been overpromising and under-delivering to the market for so long that the market's finally called their bluff on it. But this is a sign that they're starting to execute, and I think that can give some traction to this thing, and I think it can be a multi-day mover. So the float isn't high on this, and the short interest is still relatively high. So if we've got a favorable market backdrop, we know that the wind is at their back in terms of the macro drivers for these products. So I'm willing to give them several days here to see how the market responds.
Okay.
I did take off this morning over 19. There's like a 30-40 cent scalp, but I've kept a residual just so that I can stay locked in and watching the name.
Okay. Nice. And just to reiterate what that news was here, going back to our morning note, AAOI announces first volume shipment of data center transceivers. Here, I like these. Let me just highlight the keywords here, just like we did with the Oracle ones. First volume, okay. Data center.
You can replace hyperscale data center customer with Amazon, because or AWS, because we know who it is.
Nice. Well, I didn't know who it was. Now I know. Major hyperscale data center customer, which is probably Amazon, and re-engage is a key. Almost every word in this headline is a keyword. Announces first volume shipment of data center transceivers to recently is another one. Recently re-engaged major hyperscaler data center. I mean, this PR is just beautiful. All right. So anyway, that's AAOI. So all right, maybe I'll have a 5% position to swing on this one then. Is SPRO back up? Oh, please. And there we go. You know what? I never sell the pops on this. I never do. Is it time to sell a pop finally? I'm gonna. You know what? This is your sign. This is your sign that SPRO is going to 350 tomorrow, because I'm selling the pop finally. I just sold a little
it goes
bit.
to $10.
No, to be honest with you, I sold a little bit yesterday too when the Iran stuff came and I was raising cash because I'm up pretty significant on it. So I'm like, all right, let me sell some. I just sold a little bit more now, but my target on this one is $3.50 after getting through $3.18 resistance. So 318 to 350 is my target on SPRO, and this is a beauty. This has been a beauty, probably my biggest winner in the last few weeks. Beautiful. Thank you for that alert, Ross. Thank you much. All right, we got 5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes, last chance to share this link, whether you're on X or on YouTube. Go ahead and share that. We got major presentations.
Hey, Godfather, check your phone real quick.
With big implications.
Posting something right now at
what's that?
Brett was just prompting me to post the link, which I've just done on my X feed.
Awesome.
And you want to share your screen? Make sure that's working properly as well.
Okay, let me just do that. Share screen.
IWM pop.
Share screen.
There we go.
That's working as well. Okay, good.
Is that working?
All right, they got 4 minutes. 4-minute countdown. Last chance, guys. Go ahead, share that link. This is a presentation with major implications for CORZ. I'm going to remind everyone now that Godfather Knows over here was a key part of our Discord community and recognizing the opportunity with NBIS. We initially found it back here on December when Citron went in and gave their positive report on it. So we initially, our Discord community jumped in that, but look at how much additional there was made to be money to be made, buying the dip, sticking with it. And this was all because of the conviction our Discord community had because of the fundamental research work that Godfather Knows did on NBIS. So it was all over this name as Spyro hits a new high. Okay. It was all over this name and has got the credentials and the experience to recognize which one of these AI data center stocks are going to be going as we see Spyro hitting about $3. So that's the question. CoreWeave up hundreds of percent. NBIS up, I don't know, at least 100%. APLD up 100. Lagging, by the way, he also predicted this first move last year in our community. Big move from the low or mid-single digits all the way up to $18. He was all over that move. So are we going to get another big move like that? That's the thesis. That's what we give the evidence on right here in 3 minutes as we watch SPRO explode past 3. And man,
Heading
I don't
right
regret
towards our target.
selling. Yeah, I mean, I don't regret selling the shares I just did, but I do regret selling a little bit yesterday, which I didn't even tell you guys about. I was like, I'm raising a little bit cash. That's what that meant. When we got the Iran war fears, and this was one of the places I raised a little bit of cash on. But I still have a very solid position. There's a 2-minute countdown here. Spyro have a 16% allocation. And this is it, man. This was so obvious. This has been my highest conviction play here in the last couple of weeks. The price action was so obvious. The fundamental analysis was so obvious. I mean, the tape was so obvious what they were doing with major institutions were buying. They're walking it down. Then all of a sudden you see a spike, hundreds of thousands of shares walking it down, spike, hundreds of thousands of shares. It was crazy what they were doing to collect this free money. This is free money, guys. Probably still is free money. Here we go to our targets right now. 318 to 350. Those are the targets on Spiro. We could see a buyout in the 350 to 450 range by GlaxoSmithKline any day. Man, all right.
It really looks like a catalyst is hit where somebody's highlighted it.
Seeking Alpha article.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the spike both in volume and price in SPRO. I'm wondering what the catalyst has been.
I see there was a Seeking Alpha article yesterday afternoon. Additional upside potential following positive phase 3 results. Honestly, I think the supply is gone. I think those guys just soaked up the supply, and they got to be bought out. There's no reason for them to stay independent anymore. They're not doing anything. They have no pipeline anymore. They have nothing. They're just like a shell. They're just like sitting there in their office collecting royalties and milestones. That's what this company is now. So Glaxo can buy them out, save a little bit of money, and make these shareholders money. All right, with that, we're going to do the
pipeline anyway, so they might as well. Yeah.
All right. Where's our countdown? I'm going to hit the countdown. Everyone get ready. Here we go on CORZ. Welcome to Story Trading. We got a special presentation for you. Actually, let's just talk like this for a moment. The Godfather knows over here, big part of our story trading community, one of the analysts, along with myself, and got a couple other key folks in the community as well. Godfather knows is going to be giving a presentation here on CORZ, C-O-R-Z. You can see it up 1.3%. And the question is this going to be the next NBIS, the next CoreWeave, the next APLD, Applied Digital? Can we be in for a huge move coming up here in the next several weeks on CORZ? It's put together a great presentation for you. So, Steve, well, Godfather knows. Sorry. Take it from here. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's dive right in. So Core Scientific, probably most people know this as the second largest Bitcoin miner. They were public, then came out of bankruptcy. As a result of that, they have a very clean balance sheet. They've also been sort of leading the edge in converting their contracted power and their existing infrastructure to high performance compute. And obviously, that is the biggest theme in the market these days. And you see the rest of their peers attempting to do the same. Obviously, Bitcoin mining is highly variable depending on the Bitcoin pricing. It's also a very capital intensive business, having to refresh the compute, as new versions come out. Efficiency is always key. AI, much more stable, especially with the business model that these guys have, which are effectively a host, and we'll talk about how they sit in the landscape. And the stable revenues, stable profits, these are the types of things that the market gives a high multiple for. You'll see the banner on the top here is essentially the theme. This is a capital light, cutting edge data center platform that's still being valued as a Bitcoin miner. That is the essential thesis here. So before we talk about CORZ specifically, let's take a second to look at the landscape. This is becoming increasingly incestuous, by the way. The hyperscalers, I think we all know who they are, the Googles and the Metas and the Microsofts and the Amazons and the Oracles of the world, OpenAI's, XAI, Elon Musk's company, and then several of the large Chinese guys. The neoclouds are recognizable in the public markets through NBIS and through CORWeave. There are two others that make up the big four called Lambda and Crusoe, both currently private. Would not be surprised to see them come public soon. But these are guys that effectively have amassed both AI infrastructure, NVIDIA GPUs primarily, and contracted power, rolled it all in with some software and the other infrastructure necessary, cooling, racking, et cetera, to provide this compute power on a per rent basis. And what's happened here is that the hyperscalers, well, let me just back up and we'll get to this in the next slide, but the demand for AI computers obviously exploded. I think the most recent numbers I saw, there was something like 350 million people on the planet using AI tools. That's less than 5%. It's estimated that there will be close to 20% of the population of the world using AI tools just in the next 10 years. So the hyperscalers are maxing out their own capacity, and they've ended up becoming some of the largest customers of the neoclouds. At the same time, you've got all of this sort of incestuous investments going on. For example, NVIDIA invested $250 million at $40 into CoreWeave's IPO. OpenAI has made a $350 million investment in CoreWeave. So they're all being tied. We saw yesterday a contract with Google and OpenAI, but who's actually hosting that compute power? Well, it's CoreWeave, and by contractual arrangement, there's possibly a high performance compute host involved as well. So you got the hyperscalers, you got the neoclouds, and then you got the HPC hosts. The HPC hosts, again, are guys like CORZ that have the infrastructure, they have the contracted power, and they're essentially leasing that capacity to the neoclouds that are in turn selling that compute capacity to the hyperscalers, who are in turn selling that capacity to the end users of the models. So from a virtual standing start, CoreWeave is now one of the top 12 cloud providers in the world. And these hyperscalers are increasingly renting GPU cloud services as their own capacity needs scale up and scale down. And to the extent that there are concerns, or were concerns at some points in the AI cycle about the hyperscalers' CapEx and their returns on those, they've recognized that they don't just have to go out and buy these pricey NVIDIA GPU chips. They can actually rent that capacity. So that benefits CoreWeave, which ultimately benefits CORZ. So that's kind of where the landscape sits. You can see that Microsoft was a very large percent of CoreWeave's revenues in the last quarter, some 70%. That is the landscape. This is what I alluded to. This is your AI demand in a picture. Hyperscalers are on track to deliver almost a 50% increase in AI CapEx this year. I'm not sure where the graphic went on this one. Sorry about that, but there is an others category. There was on the chart that was in here that essentially shows that the others category has seen the largest growth of all. And in that others category sits CoreWeave and sits CORZ. Yeah, so to understand CORZ, you have to understand the CoreWeave transaction. So right now, CORZ has 1.3 gigawatts of contracted power. About 400 megawatts is dedicated to Bitcoin mining. There's some non-critical load that's necessary to support all of these operations. There's some power that remains to be contracted that represents growth for CoreWeave, or for CORZ. But 590 megawatts has been contracted to CoreWeave. The important things here are that they are paying virtually all of the CapEx. And the profit margins here are in the 75 to 80% range. We're not talking gross margins here, we're talking actual profit margins. The the power costs are also passed directly through to CoreWeave. So at the end of the day, CORZ is responsible for security, insurance, maintenance, those types of things. But they're getting an investment grade lease effectively with cost escalators in it, and it's a fixed price. It's not based on the amount of capacity that's used; it's based on the amount of capacity that's contracted. So it's a fixed price set up front. So it's an absolutely fantastic contract. I think the IRRs that have been calculated on this are close to 40%. This is being rolled out. 250 megawatts of this will be delivered before the end of this year. And you can see the timescale to where we get to by Q1 2027, the full 590 megawatts to CoreWeave. They did a 70 megawatt option most recently, slightly different terms, whereby Core Scientific has to put up just over 100 million of their own money. That's the CoreWeave transaction in a nutshell. So why are we talking about, wait a second, I'm missing some slides here. Hang on here. I'm missing a key slide here, guys.
Well, you can take your time to find it. You can save in a different version or something.
Yeah. So let me just talk about this in terms of the key investment highlights. CoreWeave pays for all of the capex in real time. The power and utilities are direct pass-through, as we talked about. Profit margins like 80%. CORZ is currently executing on one of the largest Blackwell clusters in the U.S. at their Denton, Texas site for their ultimate end customer of CoreWeave, which is OpenAI. The sales pipeline is being expanded beyond CoreWeave. CORZ currently has 50 to 100 megawatts of non-hyperscaler enterprise deals in negotiation. These deals are typically on a timeline that's faster than the hyperscalers. So that's a positive. As I mentioned, they've got a total of 1.3 gigawatts of contracted power on gross capacity basis across 10 sites in the US. The conversion cost of their existing sites is less than greenfield construction. That's a positive. The sites are strategically located near metro areas or in geographic regions whereby they're connected by fiber. They have very low latency. We're talking 10 milliseconds or less, which is very important for inference, which is the bulk of the HPC compute these days. They have an extremely strong balance sheet. They have a low weighted average cost of capital. When they came out of bankruptcy, they refinanced all their high cost debt. Currently on the balance sheet are 460 million worth of 3% converts and 625 million of 0% converts, and just 33 million of 5% term debt. They've got a lot of liquidity. There's about 700 million in cash. There's about 80 million in Bitcoin. And then based on the existing contract that they have with CoreWeave, they've got about $4 billion of finance capacity. So you add all of that together, there's about $5 billion there, which is enough to support another 10 to potentially $15 billion in new deals over the next 3 to 4 years. So CORZ is in a fantastic position. And the key differentiator to this CORZ deal that people need to understand, I kind of highlighted in this already, is that CORZ is paying the initial capex. 750 million of that is through extended credit against revenue. And then they bear all the cost over a certain, megawatt cost per megawatt. and the infrastructure aligns to that. So at the end of the day, most of the leasehold improvements, all of this infrastructure ends up being to the benefit of CORZ alone. So look, what are the upcoming catalysts then? You've got new hosting contracts. I think the reason that CORZ is trading at a discount to where its peers are and where I think it should be are primarily two reasons. Number one, right now, their largest customer, their only customer for data center hosting is CoreWeave. CoreWeave has a tremendous amount of debt on their balance sheet. People were concerned about the counterparty risk at CoreWeave. So to the extent that CORZ can show that they can negotiate contracts, not just with hyperscalers, not just with CoreWeave, but with enterprise customers as well, you will see that diversification result in a higher multiple. Secondly, there are obviously potential for additional options to CoreWeave and other hyperscalers. There's the delivery on the 250 megawatts this year before the end of the year, which represents close to 400 million in run rate revenue. And by the way, if you map out that the power as it comes on in terms of revenue, you're going to see CORZ revenue essentially double in 2026 to just over $1 billion. Consensus numbers are just over $1 billion for 2026, about 1.4 billion for 2027, 1.7 billion for 2028. So there's a tremendous ramp in revenue here. And remember, this is 75% plus EBIT sort of business and stable recurring revenues. The second component here that I think represents a catalyst or potential catalyst for CORZ is CoreWeave itself, to the extent that they are themselves able to diversify their revenue base and increase their perceived credit worthiness, either by refinancing some of the existing debt, being able to obtain additional debt at more favorable costs than current, or in my opinion, they should raise a ton of equity up here. Stock is up some 280% since the IPO. It's grossly overvalued, in my opinion. All of these types of things, the revenue backlog, which we saw double, by the way, from I think 12 billion to close to 26 billion in the first quarter. All of these are positive catalysts for CORZ to the extent that people perceive CoreWeave as being more credit worthy. So let's go here to why we're talking about CORZ. This shows, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go through, but this shows the relative outperformance. CoreWeave over here, Applied Blockchain over here, NBIS over here, relative to CORZ. It's underperformed all of these names. And if you look at its own chart, $13 is a key level. It's bumped up against that recently. I think a breakthrough that takes it into this technical zone where there's a nice gap fill. So here's another way to look at this outperformance. Year to date, for CoreWeave, we've only got since the IPO. There's the number we were talking about, up 274% since the IPO. NBIS is up 250% year to date. But look at CORZ. It's still negative year to date, despite all this tremendous performance of its peers. This table also outlines the existing Bitcoin folks that have signed deals for HPC, and then some of the ones that call prospective, like IREN, that are trying to negotiate the capacities that they have available and when they're expected to be operational. Here's a slide. So essentially what I'm going to do here is dive in, and we're going to look at CORZ valuation from three standpoints. This is a most recent report that came out of Needham, I think 2 days ago, when they increased their target price on CORZ to $18. They highlighted this, and this really goes to the core of what I was talking about, how the deal that they did with CoreWeave is likely to never be repeated again. We saw a deal that CoreWeave did with Applied Blockchain recently. And here you can see that deal highlighted. And I'll just draw your attention to the amount of capacity and then the amount of CapEx outlay. And this is really the key thing. We've never seen a deal, and we probably will never see a deal where all or the bulk of the CapEx is paid for. They also took a look, and I'll get to it in my slide. They also took a look at the relative valuations on an EV/EBITDA basis, and you can see CORZ, they have undervalued relative to peers in 2026 and 2027. Here's my look at the entire universe, and I've included the data center REITs. And the reason I've done that is because management at CORZ has indicated that this is ultimately where they'd like to take the company. And I think this is the right strategy because this is where the highest multiples are in the market. The DLRs and the EQXs of the world are data centers. So they trade on FFO, funds flow from operations. They pay dividends, obviously, but they command high multiples as a result of this, 20 to 30 times earnings. If you look at the CORZ earnings for 2026 and you were to apply a multiple like that to it, you would get a number in the $30 range. But we're not there yet. But they ultimately want to get there to where they have a diversified base of enterprise and hyperscaler customers that are all essentially renting space in their data centers. For now, you can see the peers, and again, I've grouped them the same way. Those Bitcoin miners that have converted some of their power and compute capacity to HPC, and then those that are prospective that are trying to sign deals. The way to read this down here is effectively if you take the average multiple using PE, the mean multiple using PE, and go across EV to sales, EV EBITDA, you get the implied values for CORZ on each one of these multiples, so metrics. So, if you think enterprise value to sales is the right way to look at it, you can see the numbers that shake out here. And then I've averaged them all, and you can see that we get these numbers in excess of $20 using this valuation methodology for Core Scientific. By the way, this presentation will be available in our Discord. So if you're interested in taking a look at this and all the rest of the other due diligence that I do on this and other names, think about becoming a member, and we can talk about at the end how to do that. You have to look at things like this on a discounted cash flow basis as well. I'm not going to get into the real weeds here, but one important thing here is the weighted average cost of capital, and theirs on a blended basis is low. Their blended cost of debt is around 1.4%, given these 0% and 3% converts that exist. So this has a big bearing on how these numbers shake out. You'll also see a big, CapEx spend here in 2027. This is for additional capacity where, unlike the CoreWeave deal, they will have to pay to bring that on stream. But even when you factor all of that in, again, you come out with a number that's in excess of $20 on a DCF basis. I had a look to see what the bright lights, the sharp knives, on FinTwit are saying about CORZ, and several of these folks. Shout out to Penny Ether. I've learned a lot from him on data centers, Bitcoin mining, etc. And these guys looked at it on a transaction basis. They're sort of doing the back math, if you will. What's the amount of money that CoreWeave has committed for these megawatts, and what does that work out to in terms of implied value for the company that ends up owning all of that infrastructure? And you can see he comes to a 1350 value, and this is just on the 590 megawatts of the CoreWeave contract. This doesn't include the existing Bitcoin mining operation or other additional power that's yet to be contracted. This fellow NIM Chuff, looked at the APLD deal and said, what, the replacement cost on this deal has actually gone up versus what we see CoreWeave paying. it's closer to 11 to 13 dollars a megawatt. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you. I've taken these and I've had a look at this on a deal structure basis. But I wanted to, just before I leave this slide, shout out to the Irresponsibly Long CORZ group on FinTwit, who invited me to join them. If you have an interest in CORZ, this is a group that that you should think about joining. There's a lot of good information that comes out on a regular basis from these folks on CORZ. So let's see what this looks like. Again, if you take the megawatts that are being financed by CORWV, you apply the implied replacement cost per megawatt on the most recent deal we've seen in the group, which is the applied blockchain deal. You apply the appropriate loan to value metrics to it. In this case, we're using basic shares outstanding because it's before the cash and the dilutes and so on in the balance sheet. You come out to values that are pretty close to $20 already. If you add in the cash, add in the value of the Bitcoin mining business, in this case, I've used the DCF value that Bernstein published using 4-year price cycles on Bitcoin. I plugged that in. I've used sort of median values, if you will, in terms of loan to value and replacement value for megawatts for the additional contract power. This assumes no growth, by the way. This is just with the existing contracted power base at CORZ. Using 75% loan to value, of course, there would be some equity that would be necessary. Here's your dilution. And boom, you end up with implied asset values again that are in this sort of $20 plus range. So here you've seen it on a comparable multiple basis. You've seen it on a DCF basis. You've seen it on a deal structure implied net asset value basis. All the numbers are coming out consistently above $20. At Story Trading, we have a 4-pillar approach. We're looking at things on fundamentals. We're looking at things on technicals. Where we're looking for catalysts. Combined, all of these things impact share prices. And so, are there reasons beyond just the fundamental undervaluation that we see at CORZ to be bullish here? And the answer is yes. Here's a table that I took from one of the FinTwit users that posted this material increase that we've seen in call open interest recently, just relatively recently in CORZ. I think it's worth noting that almost exactly a year ago, CORWV attempted to buy CORZ. At that point, they offered $575 all cash for the company. Obviously, as a public company now, they've got expensive paper they can work with. Does it make sense to buy CORZ? I think there's an open debate on that, but it's certainly a possibility. So whether it's speculation over that's caused this, I couldn't say for sure. Maybe it's folks just recognizing the undervaluation, the fact that it's lagged on a technical basis to its peers, both the HPC hosting peers as well as the other neoclouds, as well as frankly the hardware stocks. And then I look to see where the analyst community is on here, and I see only one analyst that has a target price that's in excess of $20. So this leads me to believe that we're relatively early on this. So, and again, I highlight this chart. The technical picture here looks fantastic for CORZ as well. I think if we get a breakthrough this 13, this gets chased higher into that gap. And again, there's pretty healthy short interest on CORZ as well. So that could provide a tailwind. So that's really it. There will be more and follow up as things develop on CORZ. I think it's relatively imminent based on the comments that came out of management on the Q1 conference call in terms of them signing an enterprise customer. Somewhere in the 75 to 100 megawatts. This translates using those profit margins to 50 million plus in EBITDA. I think you could see that come out from CORZ any day. And when that happens, again, I think you'll get a boost to the multiple as well, because it will show that management can execute on its goal of diversifying its customer base. Yeah, that's probably the fundamental thing that will take it through this technical level. So stay tuned.
Beautiful. Godfather knows that was incredible. Great work. I mean, he touched on everything: catalysts, technicals, sentiment, fundamentals. What I love about the work that you do and the value you bring to our community is that by understanding the fundamentals, it gives conviction to stay into a trade, and it gives you an idea of where the floor price is too, right? Like, so you got a fundamentals here that you're saying was worth 20. So if it drops, you're not necessarily going to get scared out of your position. So that's a tremendous value to bring. In terms of the stock and the underperformance and what needs to happen for this to kind of be seen differently, right? So that's basically a conversation about sentiment and catalysts, which you've been talking about here. That's what I want to zero in on. We have the technical break above the 200 DMA. We have all of the call option buying you've been talking about happening the last 2 weeks. So things are starting to boil, right? But there does seem to be a sentiment issue here. You've touched on a couple of reasons that may be. But is there a particular catalyst that you think can flip sentiment on its head? So whatever that bear sentiment is, what catalyst needs to happen for the market to say, aha, we've been wrong about this, or it's time to pile in now? What catalyst do we need to see happen for that sentiment inflection point to occur?
Yeah, so there's two things. One thing that I have to acknowledge is that this is still perceived as a Bitcoin miner for the most part by the market. I don't think, and you can see it in the fundamental valuation, that it's currently being valued, as I say in my core thesis, as a cutting edge capital light data center platform. And if you look at the actual R squared, the correlation between core share price and that of Bitcoin, it approaches 80%. So to the extent that you're bullish on Bitcoin, there's another reason to own CORZ, because it should trade higher. And I think that was a big part of the reason that we saw that run up earlier that ultimately took this to new highs. The other, really, I think it depends on CoreWeave. There's this raging debate. You guys probably saw CNBC published a bull bear between Brent Thill at Jefferies and Gil Lurie at DA Davidson. Gil is saying that CoreWeave is it's essentially a Ponzi scheme or a house of cards. The company doesn't really need to exist. It's a sidecar company to NVIDIA. There are concerns here over the debt load at CoreWeave. There are concerns about duration mismatch, for example. There's concerns that the contracts that they have with OpenAI and others do a good job of paying back the debt holders, but then the residual value that's left for the equity holders is it's dependent on what sort of value you ascribe to what at that point after 5 years or so will be fairly old compute capacity. What is that worth? The bull side of that says, well, every day AI usage increases, every day the backlog of contracts that CoreWeave gets goes higher. And yeah, look, we saw 26 billion up from 12 billion in the most recent quarter. So the AI demand and the sheer demand that exists there paves over a lot of these potholes. But look, CoreWeave is essentially a highly levered call option on AI demand. The beauty of CORZ is that you don't have that leverage in the balance sheet, but yet you get leverage to the same end market. And of course, you don't have the sort of massive valuation multiple that currently exists at CoreWeave. And we're talking about in excess of 20 times EV to EBIT, for example. So there's that. There's the diversification of, as I mentioned, of CORZ client base. beyond the hyperscalers, beyond the neo clouds, into enterprise themselves. And, we're certainly seeing that in terms of enterprise demand for AI compute. So if they can put one of those deals on the tape, which I think is relatively imminent, you're going to see a bump both to revenue, profit, but also multiple.
So you're saying you're predicting an imminent AI data center deal that CORZ is going to be announcing?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
that'll obviously be a good catalyst. I don't know. Like I look at this, and you've pinned some of the poor sentiment on CoreWeave, but CoreWeave, looking at the chart, doesn't seem to have poor sentiment.
Look, there's a short squeeze going on here, right?
Exactly.
The borrow values are extremely high. There's a lockup that expires on the 24th of September. There are a lot of questions about the key shareholder here, Magnetar. This current value. I agree with Gil. It's not defensible at these levels. So, like I said, they should do an equity issue. They should do a massive equity issue right now. In fact, if they did that, CORZ would probably explode because again, it deals with.
So you really think the sentiment is driven by fundamental concerns about CoreWeave's debt load? So I guess that could be, and I think that's a perspective that believes that the supply and demand at CORZ is mostly driven by institutional investors. I'm looking at it more from a retail perspective and thinking the issue I'm seeing here is that the masses don't really recognize CORZ as an AI data center play. They recognize it as this, Bitcoin miner. To me, that I could be wrong. Maybe you're right, but if I'm right, if it's because the perception that it's not an AI data center play, how can that perception change?
Yeah, well, it's going to change with the financials. So the most recent quarter revenue was 80 million. We're not really seeing the data center. They're delivering these gigawatts or megawatts as we speak. It's in the teens and 20s, sort of where we're at now in terms of May, June. But like I said, that ramps to 250 by exit 2025. And so you'll start to see that in their quarterly revenues. Consensus estimates are between 400 and 500 for 2025, but the bulk of that, again, is Bitcoin mining and co-location. So for Bitcoin mining. So when you see revenue double to over $1 billion next year for CORZ, you're going to see that reflected in the share price.
Yeah, and it could also be.
It's important to understand. You got to understand that that's not just this is annual recurring revenue. Okay, this is not highly variable Bitcoin mining sensitive revenue. This is 80% profit margin revenue. You're going to see that grow again a further 30% into 2027, and then another 25% or more into 2028. So yeah, it's really just early days.
How does this compare to, in terms of the timing of the fundamentals? You're saying it's early days. How does it compare to APLD and NBIS? Is it early days compared to those as well?
So APLD just signed their first deal with CoreWeave. None of those megawatts, of course, have come on yet. The build out is just beginning. But then, at the same time, if you go to the comparative valuation analysis, that I presented, you can see that APLD, with this massive run up in response to that deal, is now valued considerably higher than CORZ. And so your other question was NBIS. Yeah, look, NBIS has an existing data center in Scandinavia, which they're expanding. They've got some capacity in Paris. They're building multiple data centers in the US. But again, it's the same kind of thing. It's about annual recurring revenue. And the build really starts to come into play in 2026.
So in terms of NBIS, so who's further ahead in terms of recognizing the revenue? Is it NBIS or CORZ?
The timelines are actually fairly similar in terms of revenue ramp.
So I guess
you've got hidden value in autonomous driving and data labeling and some of the other subsidiaries at NBIS that have been very bullish on that contribute to what I see as fundamental
Right.
undervaluation there as well. But that, look, with the stock up over $50, that's now being recognized by the market.
Yeah.
CORZ should be trading at least where it was at its previous highs, in that sort of $18 range. Let alone being down almost 20% year to date.
Right. Okay. So basically, it's not beyond expectation to say that, if there was a lot of buzz around Nebius and Applied Digital, and Nebius really started with Citron, but then actually a couple weeks ago really started exploding when someone came on, I don't know who it was, but an analyst came on CNBC and saying that, hey, Nebius is the next CoreWeave, or it's a better value, better play than CoreWeave. I don't know if you remember that. That really set it off. Given where these companies are, it could be that an analyst or a social media person, or Citron or something like that comes out and says, hey, CORZ is a better deal than Nebius, or is the next CoreWeave. Like that, based on where we are with the fundamentals compared to their peers, it would be fair to say that that's possible anytime, right?
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot more attention on this, both as the actual power gets delivered to CoreWeave,
Yeah.
And that starts running through the income statement, and quarterly results. And again, I can't understate how important it will be for them to diversify this revenue base. They have a stated goal of getting CoreWeave very quickly under 50%. And to the extent that they can add additional enterprise customers and start to look a lot more like a Digital Realty or an EQIX, I think 5 years down the road, maybe even sooner, this thing gets converted into a REIT. In which case, the market will start to pay 25 to 30 times earnings.
Yeah, so it's really helpful there to understand that fundamental comparison between Nebius and Applied Digital, to say deserve it, right? We're in the same spot. If those can run, if analyst attention can be brought to Nebius and Applied Digital, if the crowd can get behind Applied Digital, if Citron can get behind Nebius, then it makes sense that someone big can get behind CORZ. And I'm wondering if the options flow that we've been seeing, really heavy options flow, is a sign that that's to come, right? We also have the 200 DMA break here, heavy options flow. We have potential catalysts coming up soon that you've been saying are imminent. So to me, I put all that together, looking at it from the 4-pillar perspective. One of my favorite plays is to take a hot sector and get into the one that hasn't moved yet, right? So this AI data center, very hot. CoreWeave, Applied Digital, and Nebius, which one hasn't moved yet? When you're in like a really hot sector theme, every stock gets its turn, even the lowest quality stocks. And now we have here like a highest quality stock that's even better relative fundamental valuation versus Applied Digital and versus NBIS, yet it's only just starting to move, breaking up above that 200 DMA. So that's what gives me confidence in timing this, right? I think all the elements are there with those 4 pillars of fundamental, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals. We're just kind of front running that sentiment a little bit, right? Based on the fundamentals, based on our expectation of catalysts, based on the technicals and the options flow. The play here to me is front running an expected sentiment inflection point where all of a sudden CORZ will be seen as an AI data center play. So, I'm looking for that big move to $18, hopefully in the next couple of months, maybe earlier.
Yeah, just in the last month, APLD is up almost 130% on the heels of this deal that they did with CoreWeave. As I mentioned, CoreWeave itself is up some 140% in the last month, some 275% since its IPO. Nebius up over 50% just in the last month. To your point. So and CORZ down 15% year to date.
Yeah.
It just there's just a massive disconnect here. So
right.
And these guys are by far the furthest along in terms of both size and maturity of this conversion of gigawatts to high performance compute. Not only that, of course, they've got this this deal that will never be replicated again.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Replicated because I guess the financials are too much in CORZ's favor and against CoreWeave's favor. That's what.
So there's a lot of question about why CoreWeave did this deal. And
before you get into that, let me just cut to the chase. Before you get into why they did the deal, is there any way they could back out of that deal?
No. Okay. This is one of the great things about this deal and the way it's structured. If you go back to the slide that I talked about the key contract features, you'll see that there is quote unquote no ability to unilaterally terminate the contract.
Right.
So, the risk here is in execution alone. But going back to why did CoreWeave do this deal? These gigawatts that they're getting from Core Scientific, by the way, so they're using this capacity to negotiate these contracts with OpenAI, with Microsoft, and all the rest of it. These are term contracts. They get money from Microsoft and OpenAI upfront to help, pay for their capex as well. So it's sort of prepayments before the actual compute capacity comes on stream. And if you look at those megawatts that they had in 2023 and 2024, when they were trying to sign all of those initial contracts, 88% of the revenue that was spoken for from the contracts that CoreWeave signed with these counterparties I just mentioned was Core Scientific power, and some 94% in 2024. So they needed to get this deal done. They needed to secure these megawatts to get their growth catalyzed. And, they probably, not probably, they would never have been able to go public had it based deal with Core Scientific. So, the beneficiary of this is you, if you are a Core shareholder.
All right. You have time for a couple of questions from the audience?
Sure.
Okay. Before we do that, just want to remind people, if you want to join our Discord, head over to Godfather Knows X profile, S Mantle. That's his handle, S Mantle. And from there in his bio, you can click on that link. It says Linktree / the Godfather Knows, but you can just click on the link from his profile. And there's a special code for today, CORZ 30. CORZ 30, 30% off. Okay. You can only get that by going to Godfather's handle right now. All right, make sure to do that to join our community. Now, there's a question here that I'll take first. Izzy is asking, CORZ has not moved in the last 2 green days. Why no movement is so strong? All right, let me ask you, Izzy, what's the catalyst to cause it to move in the last 2 days? Right, like at story trading, we always talk about you need a catalyst to be able to have a rapid re-rating in a stock. So just because something is fundamentally undervalued doesn't mean it's going to go straight up, in a straight line every single day. So what you heard from the Godfather Knows is mostly on the fundamental side of why it's going to get to 1820 plus, but the path it gets there and the timing it gets there, you need a catalyst for that to trigger. Without a strong proximal catalyst, so go back to your question, Izzy, was there a deal they announced in the last 2 days? Was there some sort of other major news in the industry that's causing the whole sector to explode in the last 2 days? The answer is no proximal catalyst. So when there's no proximal catalyst, you're going to be pulled by macro wins. You're going to be moved by what's going on with the sector, what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with QQQ SPY. And there's so many different factors, which makes it unpredictable and makes it chop and makes it wild. You can't really predict it. If you have a strong, specific proximal catalyst, then you can say that catalyst is going to overcome all of this other noise, all of the macro, all this other stuff. And you can say, okay, I'm going to make a prediction. We're going to get a rapid re-rating in the stock. But that's not what we have here yet. This is a fundamental presentation of why we can get to 18. And, we're just waiting for that catalyst to trigger these moves. So that's the answer for
if you look at the price chart for applied blockchain and CoreWeave and the others, they're exactly the same, frankly.
Yeah.
In the last 2 days.
Okay.
They hit new highs and they've been consolidating those gains.
All right. Some other questions. Go back to the beginning, starting with be a monster. This is just a comment. So we'll start with a comment. NBIS targeting 400 megawatts while CORZ has 1,300 megawatts. Market not valuing the move from Bitcoin to HPC for CORZ. If they dump Bitcoin mining as contract N and move everything to HPC, will be a monster.
Yeah, you know what?
Agree with it?
I want to talk about that actually, and I'm glad that's been mentioned because I forgot to mention it. So right now they do have 400 megawatts that's paid for, built out for mining Bitcoin, and this is another potential catalyst in my mind. To the extent that they can convert that to HPC compute, and again, turn it into this consistent, recurring, high margin revenue and profitability stream, that's going to do nothing but increase the value at CORZ. So, quite frankly, I'm surprised that we haven't seen that. And look, I fully understand that these things aren't completely fungible. You just can't turn a switch and have the compute that's doing Bitcoin mining do AI. It doesn't work that way. But the capex for that kind of retrofit and conversion is less than a greenfield site, and the core scientific here, it gets to the power contracts. It gets to where you're geographically located. Are you in an area near metropolitan centers? Are you near other infrastructure where you can provide this high performance compute on a low latency basis? The learning part of these LLMs and the training, that can be done pretty much anywhere. But inference, which is what actually happens when a request goes to one of these models, this requires low latency, and this is another key selling feature for CORZ and its portfolio of where these data centers are located and their infrastructure. So
there's a follow-up comment
I would
there.
love to see them say we're going to take 100 megawatts or whatever out of the Bitcoin mining side and reallocate it to HPC. And I suspect to the extent that they get contracts in hand or demand, because they have excess committed power now or contracted power now, we'll probably see that in the future.
Okay. There's another comment from, again, thinking about it. Do you own any of those competitors listed, like IREN or the others?
I do not. I do not.
You did own NBIS. We switched.
I don't think that Bitcoin miners are a great way to play Bitcoin, and I don't think Bitcoin miners are a particularly good business for the reasons that I mentioned: variable revenue stream, high capex, etc. So I'm a bull on Bitcoin, and I own that through the ETFs, and to the extent that I have exposure to it through CORZ as the second largest Bitcoin miner, I guess I do have exposure there. But I'm in this for the AI data center side. All
right, sounds good. I think that's all the questions we got. We got at least cumulatively almost 1,000 people tuning in. So if you want to be a part of our community and have the opportunity to collaborate and interact with the Godfather Knows and myself, you got to make sure to head on over on Twitter, on X, to SMantel. It's SMANTEL. The Godfather Knows, and you can use this code, which, where is it again? Here, let me put it up like this so everyone can see it in one shot. There it is. Use code CORZ30, CORZ30 for 30% off recurring. Not only you get the chat room and the interaction with the Godfather and I, but I also write a newsletter every single morning, a morning note, which I was showing you earlier on the show. There it is, right? So we got this newsletter up here every single morning. It comes out, plus a live stream every single morning. And we usually do some live trading in the morning as well from about 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So lots of value in our community, unparalleled value. Look, in my trading account, based on the trading Discord ideas, I'm up 190% year to date. I'm sure there's a lot of people in our community up much, much, much more than that. And that's it. Thank you so much, The Godfather Knows. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. And looking forward to seeing CORZ explode, and then we'll tell all of FinTwit, we told you so. We were first. If you want to be first, take
Thank
a
you
look
very
at
much. See you in the Discord.
All right, take care, everyone.
Cheers.
Yeah, bye. I'm gonna say goodbye.
Have a good one.
Yep. Take care. Can you disconnect the X, Brett? Just disconnect the X, and I'm gonna stay on for just 2 minutes for Discord. Okay, great. All right, beautiful. Just a real quick
It's showing 9:34 on my end.
yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just delayed. But anyway, quick little while we were gone. Sinestec looking good. There's no more ask, man. The ask is gone. The spread is big, 291 by 305. I think that short seller at least might be gone for now. So that's interesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my screen is like kind of frozen.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I feel like it's the stream on the back end on here is super slow and laggy.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck is going on here? Hold on, I got to reset my software. The heck? What? It's weird. I could do some things, but not other things. Anyway, all right, we see Spyro. So whatever. What can I say? I can't see everything. But anyway, things are looking good. All right, Sinestec is looking good. AOI, I've been trading this a few times, so I can't switch to the 1 minute chart. Buying the dips and selling the rips, so that's working well. PDYN had a pop while we were gone. I sold like half of my shares. I should have sold them all. ASTS hanging in there, but pulling back a little bit. Spyro, man, I'm really optimistic that we're going to explode, that this is not the same pattern of a pop and a pullback for 2 days and another pop. I really optimistic. This is the start of the final move towards my targets. Let's see on that. And with that, we're going to bid you farewell. It was so far a great day, I hope, for you guys. It was a great day for you, Rhett, right, with that gold?
Yeah, it was amazing. And then
Right.
I'm also taking some profits on the ASTS calls. The ones I
Awesome.
still have running are in the red, though. So
Oh, good for you. I did not sell those. I should have. Anyway. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for
alrighty, have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.